Circles going around.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Connecting Caregivers Presents Candid Conversations with me, Linda Burhans, and today my friend Susan Straley.
Hey.
We met, it's probably almost a year ago now we met, I'm thinking. We
Yeah,
were both
maybe.
presenters at a conference. We're both authors. We have a lot in common, and I'm just going to let you tell them a little bit about your journey, about how you got to this journey, and about a little bit about your journey with George.
Okay. Um, my husband had dementia, of course. He was diagnosed in 2015, and right away we took off on a last hurrah trip because we wanted to celebrate our 40th wedding anniversary. I had plans to divorce him for financial reasons. You know, dementia, they always end up in a nursing home. Um, and I knew that I wanted to be continue living. I didn't know how that would be spend down all our savings, and that's what we were going to live off of in retirement. So we took this big hurrah trip for about 3 months, and then when by the time I got back, we had celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary, and I just could not do it. He had deteriorated just in that 3 months, and uh, he wasn't cognitive enough to
Yeah.
comprehend why we would be doing that. Uh, so I didn't do it. And instead, I took care of him all the way through. He only lasted like 2 or 3 more years. He died in 2018. And um, right away, I was motivated to turn my blog, which I had written to keep family and friends informed about our trip and stuff
Right.
and our life. I turned that into a book about our trip and then another book about life after the trip. Um, and it's been doing very well on Amazon, and I've just enjoyed it. Uh, but trying to figure out now who I am
Yeah.
afterwards and what I'm going to do. I've always loved to wander. The trip was actually something I had wanted to do and thought that I wouldn't travel without him. I would be afraid. But I ended up doing it. I bought a trailer and I've been traveling. Last year, I spent all summer in the trailer, traveling around, mostly visiting my sister up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and I've just continued to do that. This year, I'm heading it back up there, but I'm taking a whole month to get up there, going to different places, and it's just, I just love it. It just fits me. It's
Where,
perfect.
where are you right now?
I am in Alkeny, uh, Iowa, in the public library using their Wi-Fi, um, and it is outside of Des Moines. And Des
Okay.
Moines is like the capital of the world as far as bike trails go. They're just bike trails everywhere, and um, loops and things you can do, and a
So
wonderful
how do
bridge.
you decide where you're gonna go next? Like, is it all planned
Oh,
out, or is some of it just let's see today I'm gonna do this or something?
no, it's all planned out all the way through September. My trip is planned. I've got reservations. I think it used to be you could go from place to place with your camper, and maybe during the week you can, but the weekends they fill up. The campgrounds do, and so I didn't want to risk that. I didn't want to arrive at a place and not have a place to stay.
Right.
I'm too old to be pushing into the nighttime,
Yeah. No, it'll.
driving, and stuff.
But you must
So
meet amazing people.
I do. In fact, at my last campground, I met Sherry Reynolds, who has been blogging and traveling for 13 years. She lives in her trailer, and it was just an amazing thing. But it was raining constantly, and I never got to sit down and chat with her. So now I'm reading her blog just to get to know her a little bit better.
It's interesting.
um, yeah, and then to this campground, I pulled in, and right away the camper across the way came over and started chatting. He's just from the local area but loves to camp, so he comes over and camps. His wife stays at home. She doesn't like to camp, and so I said, well, let me finish loading up and get set up, and then I'll come over and we'll chat. So I went over and chatted, and we just been chatting back and forth. And I finally gave him a book, and he read it that night. And he
Oh,
came
wow.
over the next morning and he said, "Oh my gosh." He says, "Just you had me going up and down and up and down." He says, "I was laughing, I was crying, and sometimes I was laughing and crying at the same time." And that just made me feel so good.
Well, it's like
I
when
don't know,
someone,
as a writer, your emotions kind
yeah,
of go with how the book is doing.
yeah. But when someone reads your book, they know more about you. It's
Yeah,
a
that's
different
true.
relationship. When somebody reads my book, Good Night and God Bless, they're like I'm going on vacation next week. They're like, say hi to your sisters. Because they know that
Yeah, yeah, that's
it's
cool.
very interesting. But because
Uh-huh.
we've invited them into our lives.
Yes, yes. I remember reading Anne Campanella's book. She had
Yeah,
dementia. She took care of her parents, and but she also had a miscarriage, and she loved horses. And when she told me something happened, it was on Facebook or something like that. I just felt like, oh, I knew her husband, and I knew her. I knew all these
right.
people in her family. Uh, she was a friend.
That makes me happy though because I think there's a lot of coldness in this world, and I
Yeah.
want to have the most friends I can have.
Good.
You
Well,
know,
you sure do collect them.
I do. Well, years ago, I'll be perfectly honest. I was running this networking organization. It was supposed to be for professional women. And one day this woman came in and she was an astrologer. And I thought, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if she'd be good for this group. And that day when I was driving home from the meeting, I thought to myself, who the heck are you, Linda Sue, to be judging anybody about anything?
Yeah.
So I went home and I wrote down 300 times, I will not judge anybody. And then I
Oh,
burned
how
it.
nice.
I did like a little ceremony. Oh my goodness. I thought I met a lot of people before. The next day, I just kept meeting more and more new people because I wasn't judging anybody.
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes I didn't
I
think
got
I was
something like
judgmental,
that.
but evidently I was. It's
Wow.
very interesting,
Yes. And you
because I
can
look
learn
at
something from everybody. It just seems like they're all bundles of experiences and
we're
uh,
all bundled, but basically we're all exactly the same because we all want to be loved. We want our health. We want a roof over our head. We may have different interests and hobbies, but basically we're exactly the same. And when you realize that, it's so much easier to communicate.
yes, I agree. I
And I
agree.
think camping people are kind of friendly people.
Yes, I think so too. I'm finding that out, and that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, when I was at Mark Twain State Park, a couple just walked by and we chatted for probably 15 minutes. Just
Yeah.
they had sold their house and we're doing it full time now, and taking care of their mother. So they had a big trailer so they could have 2 bedrooms.
God bless them. God bless
Yeah.
them. So how many miles do you bike a day?
Lately, I've been doing about 27, but I think on this trip, the longest one I did was 69, 68.
God
Well,
bless
I know it was my birthday years because I announced on Facebook I had biked my birthday ride
your age.
because those of us in the biking community will ride the number of years we are old. So I
Interesting.
announced that, and everybody was going, happy birthday. And I'm like, oh, do you have to do your ride on your birthday? That's not what I did. So I got all these nice birthday greetings, but it wasn't my birthday.
At least people care.
Yeah, right. It really feel good.
All right. So what do you do? So you bike to somewhere. You bike like to a camping place, uh, or you drive to a camping place and you bike on the trails
Mhm.
wherever you're going. And then
Yeah.
what do you do? Do you just
Oh,
be with the world? Look at the flowers. Like what's the
this has
experience?
been an amazing trip. I had planned this trip with, there was another woman that has an RV and was going to go with me all the way up to Iowa. And then she was going to take off and I was going to go on to Wisconsin. So I had her in mind as I was doing the planning for this trip. And so it's been different. And now I'm going to each place and I'm by myself. And I thought I would be lonely, but I haven't. And I'm so comfortable, and COVID might have taught me this,
Mm-hmm.
doing nothing. Going and sitting by a stream and just sitting there,
Yeah,
which is amazing to me because I've never been that way. I've always had to feel like I was being productive.
yeah.
Uh, but I think COVID and maybe caregiving gave me um,
Maybe it's maturity.
maybe it's
Sometimes
age.
I know I get a whole lot smarter the older I get.
Yeah.
I think, well, maybe not so much a whole lot smarter. I'm so much more in tune with myself,
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
I want, with
Mm-hmm.
the things I want to do in my life, and so when you get to be our age, many times you have that opportunity to do that,
Mm-hmm. And
and good,
yeah, and sometimes there's just joy in taking care of daily living. I mean, when I first got to this campground I'm at, I spent a day, going and doing laundry, getting groceries,
yeah,
got car wash, things like that, and I was just so happy. I was just so
yeah,
happy to do that. It was just like
yeah.
I've got the time, I can do that. Oh, that's nice about retirement. Um, and when it rains, I write, so that works. If I've got the internet, I'm doing stuff on the internet, blogging and things. Um,
Well, I love your expression that you say, when it's a bad day, it's a good story.
yes, yes. If you're
I think
not
that's a
having a good
wonderful way to look
day,
at it.
you're making a good story. Yes.
Yeah,
So what I do when I'm out and about, though, is I hike. I've hiked in some beautiful places. I kayaked today on the Current River. It was just so beautiful. Current River has crystal clear water and goes through some major wilderness. It's a national wilderness area. And it was a drizzly day, cool. So I was the only one on the river. Yeah, the shuttle driver took me, and then I floated down the river all by myself. I was miles from anybody. It was, and normally I would have been scared, but I just wasn't. It was just awesome.
because you're at peace. You're at peace with
Yeah.
what you're doing. You've made this decision, and there is just something about being in nature. There's,
And
when
yeah.
I'm having a rough day or something, I just go to the botanical gardens and just walk around the botanical
Oh,
gardens, and I'm a new person by the time I get to the other end of the garden.
and you
We,
take those awesome pictures each morning, right?
yeah, one of the
Or
places, yeah.
find an awesome picture.
But
Yeah.
we live in such a beautiful world, and so
Mhm.
many people miss all of it.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah.
go to work, they come home, they do their thing, they do the same thing every day. They never venture. They never, I don't know.
Yeah. And I was talking to this fellow camper, and we were uh, commiserating about some of the challenges in our life, and we all agree that everybody has their own road to travel and their own challenges, and you just got to look for those beautiful spots and those beautiful moments, and they're
But
there.
there's a ton of them. There's a ton of them.
Yeah, yeah, and just concentrate on that instead of what's difficult. Yes.
Well, you know what? It's when it's like so when I take pictures of my flowers, I see flowers that are this tiny, little tiny flowers. Sometimes I
Yes.
take pictures of it because I notice that, because that's where my head goes now. The more you start looking for beauty, the more beauty you see.
Yes.
Whether it's in a leaf, whether it's in a tree, whether it's, and for me, there's just something being by the water,
Yeah.
by the water.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. In the camping sites that I go to, if the campsite isn't by the water, I'm like, eh, it's
Yeah.
not as good as being by the water.
Yeah. There's just something about the water that's,
Yeah.
I think it's very healing for anybody,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know. So
Hmm.
what's, who's an outstanding character you met on one of your rides?
On one of my rides.
Yeah. Like, you must meet all sorts of different people, and I'm sure all different
Oh,
personalities. So what's one that sticks out?
yes. Well, George and I rode our trikes from northern Illinois down to Florida one time. And we're going down this highway in the shoulder, and these trucks whiz by, and then they park like in a pull off in front of us. These big semis, and the guys get out, and I'm thinking, oh boy, we're going to be in trouble. And they pull out their cell phones and they're taking pictures of us and movie cameras and interviewing us. So it was just a real surprise.
Yeah.
And then further down the road, we went to a motel, and we came out and there was guys grilling steak outside their motel room. They are obviously workers that, live in motel rooms when they're working.
Right.
And it turned out that they clean oil storage or fuel storage tanks. So it's real dangerous, dirty work, and they have to be short people to do it, and they have to gear up with all this gas mask. It was just fascinating to learn about their jobs, and they spend so much time away from their family because they have to travel to the site. But they had this community that lived, they shared the motel room so they could save their stipend money,
Yeah. Well, there's just so many. I was just talking to one of my grandchildren the other day. How many different jobs are there in this world? Millions. Yeah. You don't think about it. Some man makes this, some lady makes this, some piece goes to that. And it's interesting in meeting the people and the different things they do.
Yes.
Because you definitely can't tell a book by its cover.
Right. In fact, the light went off. We were riding yesterday. I met up with some friends in Des Moines to ride with, and she pointed out that Apple was building the cloud, a place to store our data. And first they put in this huge power plant, and I didn't realize before that it takes power to store my little bits and my words.
Right.
Up in the cloud somewhere, and my pictures and stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And
technology, I'll tell you, a lot of people don't like technology. I think there's fabulous things about it, like just what we're doing right now. We wouldn't be able to do this before.
Yeah.
I think during COVID, people have learned a lot of different things about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I always like my space. I'm a busy woman, and I like being a busy woman, but I like my space, and I like being by myself too.
Yeah. I'm finding out I do too.
And I think it's very important that we honor those things in ourselves, because that's our job. Nobody else can do that except us.
Right.
I just been coming across a lot of whiny people lately. I tell them I have a sign on my mirror in my bathroom, and it says, "You're looking at the person responsible for your happiness today."
Yes, smile. I do this when I'm feeling down, and it makes you smile.
Well, sometimes
it works every time.
Yeah, sometimes I sing, "I feel pretty, oh so pretty." But it works. It changes it around. Because you know what? We end up stressing about stuff that doesn't even happen many times.
Especially with those new eyelashes. I've been tempted, I tell you.
Yeah. Well, so when did you first start cycling?
Well, of course, all my life, but we started cycling as a couple in 1990, pretty much. We gathered up later. We were still biking with them.
Yeah. So
we would always. That was our draw. The ice cream shop.
I didn't hear you.
We always biked to the ice cream shop because that was our destination. That was our motivation. But then we started just biking with a
You're freezing up on me.
Group and having a good time, and then we'd go away for a weekend and bike. And
can you hear me?
That's how we started. And then retirement happened.
Can you hear me? Because you're freezing up on me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Are we back?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know either.
That cyberspace stuff we were talking about. Maybe it's George.
Yes, yes. I don't know. Well, I'm at a library, but I would think they'd have powerful
Yeah, but
Wi-Fi.
you never know. So
That's why I came here.
were you both cyclists when you met?
No, no. I think our interest, we met through a volleyball club, singles volleyball club. We were both divorced. I had been married a year. He'd been married about 12 years and recently divorced. And the first night I went to the singles volleyball club, he got my phone number. And he said he knew as soon as he saw me, I was his wife. I'm going to be his wife.
Pretty cool. That makes you feel kind of good, huh?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
If you're ready, I guess.
Yeah. I wasn't ready, but.
So, I don't know why we're freezing up here again.
A year and a half later, we got married, I think, or 2 years. Yeah, Jeremy was almost 2 years old, so yeah.
Well, we're cutting out a little bit here. I don't know if it's because of the connection, and I don't want the rest of the conversation to be choppy. So I think we'll say goodbye for today, and thank you to everybody. And I want you to come back on again when you're further on your trip. Does that sound good?
Oh my gosh, we're going away and coming back.
All right, we're going away.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. It was great seeing you.
You too.
You look great. Have fun.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right.